The Breeders' Cup Mile, race number 9, the 6th Breeders' Cup race on Saturday. It's an interesting race. It is not the strongest Breeders' Cup Mile, but remember, no better place to be playing these Breeders' Cup races and all the races than Naira Bets. Head on over and get that Breeders' Cup weekend sign up. Earn up to $1,000, 10% of your action for new members. Head to Naira.com for more information. Ribchester, he has been touted as the best European miler all year, and he's run okay. I mean, the truth is, he won the Queen Anne's down at Ascot. He finished second to Sussex in what they describe on Typeform as mud. He came back and won the prestigious Prix Moulin at Longchamp, and then he finished second to Persuasive in this Queen Elizabeth Stakes just 2 weeks ago. Can he bounce back in 2 weeks? Well, the firm turf's going to help him. This is a horse that doesn't do his best running on the softer turf, and I think getting back to the firm turf that he got in the Queen Anne is going to help him out at Del Mar. I don't love Ribchester. I think we've seen better Europeans come over the years, but I think he's the horse to beat in this Breeders' Cup Mile. I look at the other Europeans, and we'll get to Sedwa. I look at horses like Zelzal. I don't know if Zelzal is really good enough to win this race. Yeah, he's going to prefer firm turf, and he's a price if you like him, but I don't think he's necessarily that good. And in looking through these Europeans, I think that Ribchester is much the best. Now, he's got to run back in 2 weeks and get it done. He's got to get positioned here. There is going to be pace, though, and that will help Ribchester. I did not pick against him. I could not come up with a viable alternative. However, I respect World Approval. And World Approval was a dominating winner in both of his turf mile races, the Grade 1 4-star Dave on a softer turf at Saratoga and the Woodbine Mile on this firm turf at Woodbine. He was involved in a somewhat contentious pace, but it wasn't fast. It was moderate. He's going to have to rate. There's more speed in here. And he is a horse that does his best running forwardly placed, but he's shown he can rate before, and he shouldn't have a problem rating. I think that Lancaster, the horse who finished second in this race, Lancaster Bomber, ran very well to finish second, but a distant second to World Approval. And then he bombed in the Queen Elizabeth. And I think it's important to note that Aidan O'Brien, who trains Lancaster Bomber and a lot of horses on Breeders' Cup weekend, does not have good numbers coming back on just 2 weeks' rest, where he's 1 for 15. I think that affects Lancaster Bomber, and I do believe that World Approval is the second most likely winner of this race. A number of horses are coming out of the Shadwell turf at Keeneland, and that includes the winner, Sedwa. And if I was confident that Sedwa would run back to this race, I would like him in here. Having said that, it seems like overall these Europeans run their best races in the U.S. first time in the country, and they don't always come back and repeat them. And Sedwa is a classic. Last time was the time horse, winning at over 9-1. He beat Heart to Heart. I love Heart to Heart. I'd love to see him win this race. But he's going to face much more pressure up front, including Midnight Storm, than he's faced in other races. And I think that's going to do in Heart to Heart. Battle Rocks is okay. He finished third in there. He's not impossible to price. He didn't draw well with Post 11. But I don't think he's impossible to win this race at a price or at least get a piece. I didn't really like him, though. Now let's talk about Roly Poly. And Roly Poly is a European that's going to take, and justifiably so, take some money in this race. And Roly Poly is a talented miler. Roly Poly has run well at the pass going the mile, and we're taking a look at her winning the Sun Chariot by a length and a quarter. And she beat Persuasive, and Persuasive is the horse that came back and beat Ribchester and the Queen Elizabeth. So Roly Poly off this race is not impossible. And this was also the best time form figure she ever earned. The post position draw at Post 12 didn't do her any favors. I didn't include her in my picks, but Roly Poly's not impossible. She absolutely has a chance in this race. I'm not going to try to dissuade people from looking for price horses. I just didn't really find any, and I ended up picking the 10-horse Ribchester on top over the 5 World Approval. I had Ohm finishing third in here, taking a little shot with Ohm to be my third-place horse. And my fourth choice is the 4 Lancaster Bomber, who comes back in 2 weeks, but I don't think is impossible. I could have used Roly Poly as well as my fourth horses. They're all horses with a chance, but I kind of chalked it out quite a bit. I want to remind people the pick 4, races 9 through 12, starting with the Breeders' Cup Mile and ending with the Classic, a 3 million point hit and split if you're playing through Naira Bets. And you better be playing through Naira Bets.